Good evening, sports fans. Welcome to episode 4, I believe, of JMJE Sports. I'm your host, Jason Muller, and today we are going to be breaking down the second round of the men's tournament, and boy, was it a crazy one, and the first couple rounds of the women's tournament as well. So we'll start off with the men's since that happened a couple days ago, and I haven't been up on my posting schedule. So, on the 21st, we had Loyola Chicago beat Illinois, almost busting my bracket. I just want to say, this is my men's bracket. It looks like a 5-year-old stole their mom's pen. And this is my women's bracket. My women's bracket is almost perfect, with the exceptions of like 4 teams. But we'll get through this, and then we'll discuss the women's. So Loyola Chicago beat number 1 seed Illinois 71-58, and they were an 8 seed. I had Illinois playing Gonzaga in the title game. I am shocked that this tournament's going the way that it is going. Next up, we had Wisconsin versus Baylor. Baylor took that one 76-63. Now the next game, West Virginia versus Syracuse. Now, as you can see, my Syracuse hat remains. I still cannot find my Oregon hat. I think it's in the car, but the West Virginia hat has now it's right here on my briefcase. Oops, my laptop fell out of my briefcase. But my West Virginia hat is currently still on my briefcase. Anyway, so Syracuse beat West Virginia 75-72, and they were an 11 seed. WVU was a 3 seed. Now, I was upset because I had West Virginia going to the Elite 8, and on another bracket I had them winning the championship because I genuinely thought they had a chance. But here we are. West Virginia is out of the tournament, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. I was neutral for that game. I didn't care who won. I kind of wanted West Virginia to win, but that was one of the things that also kind of busted my bracket. I wasn't expecting it at all. I was at work when I was watching that game, and I don't know. I think, as Coach Bob Huggins said afterwards, they switched when they didn't need to switch. And my personal opinion, I don't think that they could have kept up with Syracuse's 3-pointers. They had a lot of those. They had a lot of 3-pointers in that game, and I don't think West Virginia could keep up. So, what are you gonna do? Mountaineers are now out of the tournament, and hey, good luck to Syracuse. I've seen a lot of people saying that this could be Syracuse's year. They always show up for the tournament. They may be a crappy team throughout the season, but they always show up for the tournament. They're always that tournament team that comes out of nowhere. I remember a couple years ago they went into the Final Four. Nobody thought they would go into the Final Four. And then they lost. But nobody expected that. So, moving on from the tragedy that is the West Virginia-Syracuse game, Texas Tech lost to Arkansas 68-66. Rutgers, their glorious run in this tournament, was cut short by Houston 63-60. That was a very tough game to watch, especially working at a sports bar here in New Jersey. One that's fairly close to the Rutgers campus. I saw a lot of sad Rutgers fans walk out of my job. I work at a sports bar about 5 minutes from my house, and it was hard seeing those Rutgers fans leave. You know, they had those looks on their faces, and I wanted Rutgers to win, even though I picked Houston to beat them. You know, I still wanted to see Rutgers win. But, next game. Wow, was this one crazy. A 15 Oral Roberts beat a 7-seed Florida 81-78. Now that is amazing. Like I said, I had Ohio State. I didn't even have Oral Roberts. This game didn't mean anything to me because I had Ohio State beating Florida. But no, instead it was Oral Roberts that beat Ohio State and now beat Florida. I was going to wear my Tasmanian Devil tie, but I thought about it. Since we are in the Sweet 16 now portion, I decided I'd wear a tie with some candy on it, but I was going to wear a Tasmanian Devil tie because this has just been a crazy, crazy tournament so far. Next game we had North Texas versus Villanova. Villanova won that one 84-61. And then the Oregon State versus Oklahoma State game. Oregon State took that one 80-70. And they were a 12 seed that beat a 4 seed. There has been so many upsets this tournament. Hey, I said it from the beginning of the season. This is going to be a weird, weird year. Again, you don't have those big-name teams. A lot of the big-name teams are out of this tournament. The only ones you still have are Zaga, Baylor, Alabama's still in it. Kansas is no longer in it. Kansas lost to... Oh, well, that's on the next page, I think. I'm confused by my bracket right now. Did I not write the score for the Kansas game? Right, Kansas that's in the next... So, moving on to day 2. And we'll discuss more about the upsets that are in this tournament. Oregon! The Ducks! They live to see another day. A 7-seed Oregon beat Iowa, a 2-seed Iowa, 95-80. So, I picked Iowa. I didn't think the Ducks would get this far. I picked Iowa to go into the Sweet 16, but now the Ducks are in the Sweet 16, and that pisses me off beyond belief because I picked Iowa to beat my team. And now my team is in... it bothers me. And I also put $10 on West Virginia too, but, hey, I lose money all the time. Next up, we had Oklahoma versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga took that one 87-71. Then we had Abilene Christian and UCLA. UCLA beat Abilene Christian 67-47. I wasn't surprised. Abilene Christian, they put up a fight in the first 4 match. But they beat Texas. And then they lost to UCLA. So, anyway, moving on to Ohio versus Creighton. Creighton beat Ohio 72-58. So that's good. LSU lost to Michigan 86-78. I had Michigan, so I'm not that scared. Colorado lost to Florida State 71-53, which, again, I had Florida State and Colorado. So now in the Sweet 16, I got that matchup correctly, Michigan versus Florida State. And then we had Maryland versus Alabama. Bama took that one 96-77. And then we have number 6 USC beating number 3 Kansas 85-51 for yet another upset. So again, as I was saying before, you don't have a lot of these big name teams in the tournament anymore. This tournament's basically taken over by these smaller schools, and given these smaller schools their time to shine, which is great. But it sucks when you're doing a bracket. It really does. Like I said, my men's bracket literally looks like a 5-year-old stole their mom's pen and just decided to scribble. Just because of how many crosses and circles and stuff there are on this. I think for the most part it's good. I just hate that Illinois lost and I only have one team. I still have Zaga. I don't think Zaga is going to lose, but hey, we can't predict everything. So that's the recap for the men's tournament so far. We'll be back next week for more men's content. Now let's move on to... Alright, before it paused, I was saying, let's move on to the women's bracket. The women's bracket I have is almost perfect. So, in the women's bracket, we're going to go through this very quickly. Stanford beat Utah Valley. Oklahoma State beat Wake Forest. Missouri State beat UC Davis. Arkansas lost to Wright State. I had Arkansas, so that was one of my first... Arkansas lost to Wright State, which Wright State upset Arkansas. They were a 13 seed, and Arkansas was a 4 seed. Oregon. The Oregon Ducks. Where did this Oregon team come from? I mean, yeah, it's their 4th straight... Oregon won today, earlier. Their 4th straight Sweet 16 in the tournament. So congratulations to the women's team at Oregon. So yeah, Oregon is now in the Sweet 16. Georgia beat Drexel, and then they just lost to Oregon. Northwestern beat Central Florida. And right now, Northwestern is playing Louisville, because Louisville beat Marist. Then South Carolina beat Mercer. Oregon State beat Florida State. Stephen F. Austin lost to Georgia Tech. WVU beat Lehigh. Texas beat Bradley. UCLA beat Wyoming. Alabama beat North Carolina. Maryland beat Mount St. Mary's. Moving on to the next side of the bracket. UConn beat High Point. Syracuse beat South Dakota. Iowa beat Central Michigan. Kentucky beat Idaho State. Michigan beat Florida Gulf Coast. Tennessee beat Middle Tennessee. Virginia Tech beat Marquette. Baylor beat Jackson State. NC State beat North Carolina. A&T. South Florida beat Washington State. Gonzaga lost to Belmont. Indiana beat VCU. Rutgers lost to BYU. Arizona beat Stony Brook. Iowa State beat Michigan State. And Texas A&M beat Troy. Now moving on to the second round. Stanford beat OSU. Oregon, obviously, beat Georgia. And I forget who won the Missouri State game, and I don't feel like looking on my phone right now. So we'll get back to that one. Because I had Arkansas, and obviously Arkansas lost to Wright State. I think Missouri State lost to, or is now in the Sweet 16. I think so. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I think Missouri State is playing Stanford next. Like I said, in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, right now, in the second round, we have Northwestern and Louisville playing. That game is going on right now. South Carolina beat Oregon State. WVU lost to Georgia Tech. I was a little upset by that because I had West Virginia going to the Final Four in this bracket. So, a little upsetting, but it's okay. Texas UCLA. I think that game's going on right now. So, but Texas is playing UCLA today. Alabama is playing Maryland. Maryland actually won today, so that's good. Syracuse versus UConn. UConn took that one. Again, I was a little upset when Syracuse won, but again, Syracuse lost. My bad. I was a little upset just because I am a Syracuse fan, but I wasn't surprised because UConn is the number 1 seed and Syracuse is an 8 seed. So, I wasn't expecting Syracuse to really go far in this tournament. Iowa played Kentucky, and I really don't care about the outcome because I had Idaho State, and Idaho State lost to Kentucky. So, yeah. Then Michigan playing Tennessee, and then Michigan won. Virginia Tech playing Baylor. Baylor won that one. NC State versus South Florida. NC State took that one. Then it was Belmont versus Indiana. Like I said, I believe that game is going on right now. Or I forget who won, but I had Gonzaga winning, and Gonzaga lost in the first round. And I had them going to the Elite Eight. So, you know what? You can't get everything you want in a bracket. And then BYU, Arizona, that game is going on right now. So we'll have results for that tomorrow. Michigan State lost to Iowa State, so it was Iowa State versus Texas A&M. That game is also going on right now, I believe. So that is our wrap-up for the women's bracket. Just so you all know, for my women's bracket, I have Stanford taking it all. I really wish that I printed out 2 brackets or got 2 brackets out of the newspaper. I wish I did, but then again, I don't feel like spending $6 on 2 newspapers. But I really wish that I had a second bracket for Oregon going to the championship, because I do think Oregon can do it. I have a strong feeling that Oregon can do it. But my Final Four was, before WVU got out, Stanford, WVU, Baylor, and Texas A&M. In the finals, I had Stanford versus Baylor. So again, maybe my championship can be possible, but I don't doubt that Oregon can beat Louisville or Northwestern, depending on who wins. Northwestern will be the easier game, but Louisville will put up a fight. And then I have Oregon playing Stanford in the Elite Eight, and then Stanford winning and moving on to the championship. So I'm pretty stoked for the rest of this tournament, especially the women's. Again, my bracket is almost near perfect, with a couple of hiccups. So we'll be back with more sports content in the following days, following more March Madness. Hopefully more of my hats will appear. Like I said, I can't seem to locate my Oregon hat because that one will be up there. The WVU hat I have taken down because they are out of the tournament in both the men's and the women's games. Men's and women's tournaments. My bad. But, there's always next year. Hopefully next year we see more of those big name teams in the bracket, like Duke, like Virginia, all those teams that kind of lost early on. Hopefully they're all in it next year, and college basketball and most sports will be back to normal Also, just some announcements for the page. Pretty soon we will be starting to put out more baseball content because baseball season is starting soon and there's a lot of new things coming. So stay tuned for more sports content in the following weeks and the following couple days. And we'll stay on top of all the sports stuff that you guys want to know. If there's a sports topic or something fun that you guys just want to see us talk about or do, put it in the comments below, and maybe if there's a sport that we haven't discussed before or you've seen on my page or a sport that's not really on my page that much, feel free to comment it below and we'll try to cover it. So, we will see you guys in the following days. I'm your host, Jason Muller. Thank you for watching this episode of JMJE Sports.